Hello everyone and welcome to Thorough Newspaper Analysis, which is brought to you by LawSikho. Let's see what articles we will be discussing today. Firstly, reducing India's cancer burden. So this is from the Hindu and it is a very important article and talks very nicely about the cancer and even the growing problem of cancer in our society and what actually can be the steps that we should be taking to curb this cancer in society. Secondly, nurturing India from the Indian Express, and eggs or not, why Madhya Pradesh is debating Anganwadi's meals again. So this is from the Indian Express. Basically, we have tried to club these two articles in order to make a comprehensive one. And this article basically talks about the nutritional levels in India and how much or what part of India is suffering from malnutrition and how at all can we move out of it and what are the recent statistics available. And thirdly, news and flash, wherein we'll be discussing the crisp news articles that are important for specifically our prelims exam. Now, before we begin with the discussion, we would really like to wish you a very happy Hindi Divas today, as 14th of September is recognized as Hindi Divas, as this was the day when it was adopted as one of the official languages of India. So on that note, do check out our Hindi news analysis as well, because it might be also very good and nurturing to you as well. Now let's have a look at the LawSikho courses that we have for you. We have the Lord of the courses, which is the Judiciary Test Prep course. The link to this course is there in the description box. You can go and have a look at it. You can also download free study material, which is available there itself. Then we have various other courses as well for CLAT, All India Bar Exam, etc. And we are very shortly coming up with law optional course as well, so you may enroll yourself in that too. Now probably for today's MCQ, you already know the answer. When Hindi was adopted as one of the official languages of the Union on, so actually the date you have to identify, 11th September 1947, 12th September 1948, now here is the twist, 14th September 1949 or 14th September 1950. So if you know the answer, do jot it down in the comment section below. So this is the descriptive question for you all. India suffers from a huge malnutrition problem, which in turn is related to a number of factors, which actually we will be analyzing today. Discuss the initiatives taken by the government to address the issue. So the answer to this question must be written within a word limit of 250 to maximum 300 words. With this, let's start with the first article for the day, which talks about the impact of cancer that we have in India. Firstly, as per the National Cancer Registry Program, so its report 2020, the estimate number of cancer cases in India is in 2020 is 13.9 lakh. So with that, we know that the prime agency or the prime program that is concerned with the calculating the cases of cancer in India is the National Cancer Registry Program. And according to its report, actually, we can say that the number of cancer patients and also the deaths that have been occurring due to cancer has been increasing since the previous years. And this is a state-wise analysis of the report wherein it says on the whole UP has the highest number of cases. Now obviously this has got a lot to do with the living habits of the people, also their life habits, basic habits, and then the basic infrastructure, health facilities, etc. that are available. So UP has the highest number of cases coming from of cancer. Then we have Bihar, Maharashtra, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, etc. Then let's see that what are the other statistics or other reports that actually calculate the cancer statistics in India. 2017 report of India's cancer burden increased 2.6 times between 1990 and 2016, and deaths have also doubled. And it says that the common types of cancers, this is really important for us to understand as common people as well, and also for actually understanding the problem of cancer. Now the most common cancer which is found in men is lung cancer, oral, stomach, or for esophagus. And then for the women, the most common one is the breast cancer, cervix cancer, ovary cancer, or of the gallbladder. So these are the most common types that are found. 27% of the cases are attributed to tobacco use. Now maybe here we can find a link as to why the maximum number of cases of the cancer are reported from states like UP and Bihar. Now just as we discussed that life habits play a really important role in your complete overall health as well as your complete overall bodily outlook, the culture that is there prevalent in UP and Bihar, you must have seen that a lot of people actually prefer a lot of tobacco induced products. Now, this could be any kind of, maybe a kind of tobacco induced pan for that matter, or it may be also the tobacco as such, wherein they have a lot of, they consume it into various forms, and that is why there may be a case, or there may be a linkage here, that why UP and Bihar actually report the highest number of cancer cases. So the other factors also are like for the alcohol use, in an inappropriate diet, low physical activity, obesity, and pollution. So all these things also play a lot of, a good role in deciding as to who are more prone to getting, or being vulnerable to cancer. But yes, of course, of 27% cases are attributed mostly to the use of tobacco. So 50 to 60% as estimated cases can be avoided by tackling the known risk factors. Now, basically, as we say that there is no cure to cancer, and cancer is something like once you have had it and you are like at a terminal stage, it cannot be cured. So cancer is one of those diseases that really, we have this thing that it cannot be really cured if it is beyond our control. But then again, estimations say that approximately 50 to 60% of the cases can really be avoided if we know the tackling in the right, by the right means and ways. And if we can do it through, we can tackle the known risk factors as we just discussed above. Now let's see that what can be the solutions to actually put down this cancer and to reduce the cases of cancer and also the deaths that are caused by cancer. First of all, the community empowerment. So basically in this article, the author talks about a three-way solution to this. Firstly, through community empowerment, wherein the community, the people at large should be empowered and should be made more and more aware about it. Secondly, better use of the data that is collected. Now, as we know that, and the National Cancer Registry Program, it also collects data, and through some other means also data is collected. So we should make the best and optimal use of that data and make cancer a notifiable disease. Now in community empowerment, it should be, it says that improved awareness and strength health systems must be done. Now as you might be able to recollect that when we were young enough and we were in our schools, we used to study basic science in our basic science classes and basic, health, wherever we used to discuss about health. It was considered ideal to get a full body checkup after every 6 months. This actually helps us to analyze the trends that are going on in our body, the changes that are occurring in our body. And this is the reason why we can actually, catch the cancer if we have it at a very early stage. So that is why it is desirable that health checkups, health camps are also organized regularly, and people also are motivated enough to go and get their health checkup done regularly, at least once within every 6 months. Now, this also is backed up with various economic resources as well, because obviously a full body health checkup is not something that everyone in India can afford. But obviously, since this is very, very important and very, very essential for making a strong nation, these resources should be made very economical for every citizen of the country. Then better access to screening and vaccinations and early and time detection, almost the same thing that we have discussed, and obviously the affordable treatment thing that we have already covered. Then for the better use of data, encourage data-driven programmatic and policy-driven solutions, because obviously it would be the best for the government especially to make any kind of policies or any kinds of steps or initiatives in this regard only after analyzing authentic data, so that right policies in the right time and for the right people can be taken. And secondly, helping shape cancer research in the country, because obviously when we'll have correct data in our hands, we will be able to shape the cancer research in our country more effectively. Like for example, just in the previous slide, we discussed that 27% of cancer cases are mostly due to the consumption of tobacco, and also what kind of cancers are more prevalent in men and women. So these data actually help us to reorient our research and development in the field of cancer, and so that better of infrastructure and facilities can be brought in. So the Sustainable Development Goal number 3 also refers to the goal which is related to cancer, and it talks about reduce by 1/3 premature mortality from NCDs through prevention and treatment, and promote mental health and well-being. So basically it talks about so tobacco and other conventions also come under it, and cancer also forms one of the part of this SDG. Let's see that what are the related government programs that run in it. Firstly, Ayushman Bharat, Swasth Bharat, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, Poshan Abhiyan, which is also known as the National Nutrition Mission. Then PM Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana. So these are the programs that the government is already running in this direction, and we need a few more efforts to actually, get down to the solution and eradicate cancer literally from our society. With this, let's start with the second discussion for the day, which talks about the malnutrition in India. The union government has launched a campaign declaring the month of September as Poshan Mah 2020. Now, as we know that since the time we have the National Nutrition Mission, which is also known as the Poshan Abhiyan, we have Poshan Mah or the Nutrition Mission, Nutrition Month, which is declared to be as September. So as we know that currently we are running in the month of September, so it is considered to be as the Poshan Mah or the Nutrition Month as declared by the union government. Now let's understand that what basically is the NNM, which is the National Nutrition Mission or the Poshan Abhiyan. Basically, it aims to reduce stunting. We'll just discuss as to what do we mean by stunting, underweight and low birth weight by 2% per annum, and to reduce anemia among children, adolescent girls and women by 3% per annum. Now for anemia, all of us know it is the lack of the iron in blood, which actually is one of the major reasons as to why the children who are anemic, and even women, many a times pregnant women also, and even adolescent girls, they tend to turn anemic. That is, they have a lack of hemoglobin, lack of iron, and also lack of good, WBCs, RBCs in their blood, which means that simply the blood that they have in their body is not very strong and healthy. So more or less, this anemia causes various other health issues in children as well as girls and women. So National Nutrition Mission aims to reduce anemia amongst them at a rate of 3% per annum, that is per year. Now, when we talk about stunting, underweight and low birth weight by 2% per annum, we simply mean stunting is when, as compared to the age of a particular child, the height growth is not as sufficient. Now, sometimes you might have seen that a child who belongs to a very poor family might say that he's 7 years or 8 years of age, but when you just look at him or his height, most preferably, you just can understand that he's only 4 or 5 years old, but in actually he is 7 to 8 years old. So this disproportion between the age of a child and the height of that particular child is known as stunting, and underweight or low birth weight is basically known as the wasting. Now, by wasting, we mean that as compared to the height of a child, as compared to the age of a child, the child is not sufficiently weighted and he is underweight. So that is called as wasted. So these are some basic general, some terms, specific terms: stunting, wasting, etc. So it aims to reduce it by 2% per annum. Now let's see that against this, what are the statistics that we have in India currently? So in 2015-16, 35.8% children were underweight and 38.4% of them were stunted children. So this is according to the National Family Health Survey of 2015-16, which is a very, very huge number. Then in 2017-19, according to the State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World report, 28% of the world's undernourished population were in India. So this is really huge, because India already forms approximately 7% of the world's population. And if we talk about the whole world population, 28% of the total world's population of undernourished population comes from India. Then 14% of India's population is undernourished. And if we talk specifically about India, so 14% of our whole population is undernourished as per 2017 and 19. Whereas if we compare it to China and Brazil, the statistics is only 2.5%. So we really need to work in this area. Then India also accounts for 28% of the global population of stunted children under age 5. So these are the trends, and 43% of the world's wasted children, as we discussed just now, that what do we mean by stunted and wasted children in 2019. So all of these statistics you do not really need to remember, just the world trend you should know, and also the trend in India as compared to basic countries. So basically the general statistics should be kept in mind. Let's see that what are the key determinants of child undernutrition. So what are the basic reasons that actually play an important role in child undernutrition or malnutrition? First is women literacy. Now, here in the initial stage, it might really be, a bit confusing to understand as to how the literacy of a particular woman leads to nutrition or undernutrition in a child. So it's the reports state that women literacy has a direct impact. So not just indirect, rather direct impact on child's feeding practice. So only 13.7% of women in India have received higher education, according to again the National Family Health Survey 2015-16. Basically what happens is, just imagine that, like if our mothers, like we have our mothers, they're educated enough. So if they are educated enough, they know the importance of nutrition, the sources of various nutritions, and the right time to provide nutrition to their children. So this women literacy or their privilege of having had attained higher education actually makes them more aware of the nutritional needs of their children, and that is why they're able to feed them better. On the contrary, the women who have hardly been to school or have just, they do not have any kind of literacy available for themselves, they actually do not really understand the value of nutrition. Also, they're very devoid of the sources of nutrition, and thus they're not able to understand the needs of their children. And that actually leads to the major cases of undernutrition or malnutrition in children. So the solutions are, there should be programs to promote women higher education, promote schooling, and we should make sure that the women do not drop out of the school, and reduce, obviously, yes, to reduce the dropout rates. Next is the wealth index. So access to sanitation and facilities and safe drinking water is something that, though the government has been promising to provide to every individual in the country, but it has still not been successful to do so. So Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and WASH initiative is a step in this regard. Now, as all of us know already about the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, WASH is simply an initiative that tries to provide potable or drinkable or clean water, sanitation and hygiene. So WA stands for water, clean water, S for sanitation, and H for hygiene. So this is cumulative known as the WASH initiative. Thirdly, leveraging agricultural policies and programs so that they can reinforce the diet diversification, because in India, even if we talk about, the government policies or subsidies or minimum support price, etc., the most focus that is given by the government is on the staple foods only, like rice and wheat. Whereas there are various other sources that are agriculturally produced, which are very essential for providing balanced nutrition, or, to say different kinds of nutrition required to the children and people at large. But due to our agricultural practices and narrowing down it to only commercial basis, the diet diversification, or what do we call as the biodiversification, is really missing. So we should focus on that too. Then fourthly, promote exclusive breastfeeding. And this is one step that is maybe, at many times in today's culture, it is being undervalued. Maybe it is not, taken that seriously, because, and or maybe in some scenarios, the women who actually are pregnant, they are not able to lactate properly due to health issues. And also this also is one of the reasons, because they themselves are very undernourished. Now, obviously, if a girl or a woman who's herself undernourished, how will she be able to provide good and healthy milk to her own baby? Obviously, it's really difficult. So we should really focus a lot in providing the breastfeeding, as including introduction of complementary foods and diversified diet should be there, and access to prenatal and postnatal health services or health care services should be available. Then this is now the second article, which talks about a particular case of Madhya Pradesh. We have clubbed it since they were about the same topic, and it also talks about as one of the reasons why malnourishment is more prevalent in states like MP, UP, Bihar, Rajasthan, etc. So this is a recent event. So a proposal was made by Madhya Pradesh Women and Child Welfare Minister. So she made a proposal to provide eggs in Anganwadis and to pregnant women under Integrated Child Development Scheme. So why needed? As we know that Madhya Pradesh is one of the worst affected states by malnutrition, as accompanied by Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Rajasthan, etc. So there, the malnutrition or the undernutrition levels are already very high, and that is why the Women and Child Welfare Minister over there, she has again, so by again we mean that she has been suggesting this since a long time, but this has not been adopted till now. So she is again suggesting to provide eggs in Anganwadis and also to pregnant women, so that we can fight against the undernutrition or malnutrition in children and women. Also, lockdown has disrupted the nutritional schemes, as we have at length discussed several times that one of the very important schemes that were brought in by the government was of the midday meal, which played a very important two-way role. Firstly, it incentivized the children to come to the school, so that it actually increased the enrollment, and stay in school rate was increased for the children. And secondly, it actually aimed at providing nutritional and balanced diet to children so that they can grow properly in their growing stage. So due to the lockdown, as schools have shut down, so obviously the midday meal is it's a far sought dream. So obviously, and then nutrition in 122 SC and ST majority, that is scheduled caste and scheduled tribe majority villages in Madhya Pradesh, has been dropped in children to 51%, and pregnant women to 67%, and lactating mothers to further 68%. So this has been done. This is a survey that has been done by an NGO called as Vikas Samvad. So why the step is facing criticism? Because 40% of Madhya Pradesh's population is vegetarian, and due to upcoming Bible, so basically, obviously, as we just discussed, that the basic life trends of the people play a very important role in the nutrition that they actually avail. So 40% of MP's population is vegetarian, but again, this scheme that has been proposed to provide eggs is voluntary in nature. So it is something that it will not be forced on you to actually have or consume eggs, but only if you're a non-vegetarian, you can definitely go for it. But still, this has not been allowed till date in Madhya Pradesh. Then these are the other states that provide eggs in Anganwadis. So around 14 states in India provides eggs as a part of the ICDS, which is the Integrated Child Development Scheme. So in these states, basically 95% population in states are non-vegetarian, mostly in the northeastern states, etc., and Jammu Kashmir, etc., which earlier was a state. Then 70% population in the remaining 5 states are non-vegetarians. So this was all for today for the major ones. Let's see that what do we have for news in flash. So it is the same thing that we discussed earlier too, and we have Hindi Divas today. So it is celebrated on 14th September every year to commemorate the historical event when Hindi was adopted as one of the official languages in 1949. So yes, this is the answer probably to your MCQ for the day. So Hindi is one of the 2 official languages of the Union government, the other being English, and is also one of the 22 scheduled languages of the Republic of India. So as you know that we have the 22 scheduled languages, and we have only 2 official languages, Hindi as well as English. So yes, this was all for today. We hope that it was a good and informative session for you all. Do stay tuned with LawSikho for such more sessions to come. Thank you so much.